Hello, everybody. Good morning. This is Mark Smith with Family Tree. Everybody's always surprised when I go live at unconventional times, but I just thought it would be fun this morning. It's a very quiet, dreary, rainy Sunday in Indianapolis. And I had a few things that were coming up for me that I wanted to share with you as a community. And that is a creative narcissistic abuse recovery strategy. It's a strategy that I really haven't heard people speak about specifically. And it's called turn sideways into the light and disappear. So I'm going to give you folks some disappearing lessons. I'm going to start with a poem by my hero, my favorite poet, David Whyte, Whyte. Find his CDs and purchase them. He's brilliant. And he's sort of a poet, therapist, prophet, all rolled into one. This is a poem called TOBAR, PHADRAIC. I don't know what that means. It's Irish. I'm not quoting the entirety of the poem, but most of it. David Whyte. Turn sideways into the light, as they say the old ones did, and disappear into the originality of it all. Be patient with easy explanations and teach that part of the mind that wants to know everything not to begin questions it cannot answer. For now you are alone with the transfiguration and ask no healing of your own, but look down as if looking through time, as if through a rent veil from the other. Good morning from Central Indiana. From the other side of the question you've refused to ask. And you remember now that clear stream of generosity which you drank. I'm sorry, I've got a thumb injury from basketball and I'm having a hard time turning the pages. And you remember now that clear stream of generosity from which you drank, how as a child your arms could rise and your palms turn out to take in the blessings of the world. Turn sideways into the light, as they say the old ones did, and disappear into the originality of it all. The following is a blog, a guest editorial by a woman named Marguerite Theophil from speakingtree.com. And it's her analysis, basically, of David Whyte's message, of David Whyte's poem. And she did it so well that I couldn't really do it justice to share it from my perspective. Marguerite Theophil, the instinctual response in us as humans in the face of stressful. We might be having some technical issues. I think we're back. Turning sideways into the light can be seen as acknowledging that some encounters are damaging to all involved. No one can win. There may emerge a winner or a winning side, But the true result, when we come to our senses and assess the damage, is loss all around that may take years or even centuries to heal. To conventional thinking, it sounds too much like defeat or giving up. I've decided, my friends, to turn sideways into the light and to disappear. And several people suggested that I'm wimping out, that I'm not acting true to my fierce warrior nature. But I think it's a good strategy at this time. In reality, it is neither retreat nor cowardice. Rather, it is an intentional strategy just simply to supersede and to change the ground rules. Essentially, to turn sideways into the light is to reject the conventions of conflict as laid out by your antagonist and choose another path which will extend rather than diminish your integrity. It's a difficult choice under any circumstances, almost impossible in conflict situations. What it involves is a tough choice to ascend in the midst of chaos and confusing emotions, to ascend to a higher dimension of functioning. In India, this writer I think is from India. In India, we have the example of Gandhi, and the world has given us others like Martin Luther King and Nelson Mandela, who demonstrated this strategy at different times. But for most of the rest of us, we're so programmed for the options of either submission or aggression, and even some of us have learned a third way, assertiveness. Turning sideways is a whole different approach. Some conflicts, obviously, undoubtedly, must be confronted and dealt with, but not all of them have to be. And that's a well-kept secret. It is the unnecessary ones which are most debilitating, as they sap our energy and our life force whenever we ignore our capacity for the judicious use of wisdom and power. I like to visualize conflict as taking place along a pathway that takes us to our highest goal. Besides this pathway is a dim, mist-shrouded path at a right angle to the one we were on, yet going to the same place. One that you can, with one sideways step, get into and turn and move ahead with life. Sounds like a pretty good option to me. However, when we get so enmeshed in the fight, this way is invisible to us. We just don't see it, and we hurtle on, and we often waste precious energy by not just stepping away from the contaminated path. Consider David Whyte's opening lines in the tome TOBAR PHADRAIC. Turn sideways into the light, as they say the old ones did, and disappear into the originality of it all. This phrase, the originality of it all. Hi, Dawn. This phrase, the originality of it all, suggests to me that place behind a mostly hidden door, one we all have access to. Though with some of us, the key to the door is temporarily misplaced. That placed within each of us of wisdom, compassion, and enlightened power. I'm going to read the poem again, and then I'm going to share some personal things, and then I'm going to challenge you to practice this new and unique creative narcissistic abuse strategy of turning sideways in the light and disappearing. Turn sideways into the light, as they say the old ones did, and disappear into the originality of it all. Hi, Taylor. You probably need to refresh your screen. Be patient with easy explanations and teach that part of the mind that wants to know everything, not to begin questions it cannot understand. For now you are alone with the transfiguration and ask no healing of your own, but look down as if through time, as if through a rent veil from the other side of the question you've refused to ask. And you remember now that clear stream. Cheers from China. What's up? What's up, Denny? Isn't that cool that y'all can tune in from China from my living room? And remember now that clear stream of generosity from which you drank, how as a child, with arms you could raise and your palms turn out to take in the blessings of the world. Turn sideways into the light, as they say the old ones did, and disappear into the originality of it all. Folks, I've been struggling with some ongoing narcissistic abuse from 3 or 4 different sources. When Dawn would like to disappear, hi Julia from Tampa Bay. When facing narcissistic abuse from a lot of different directions, I don't know why it is, but when you're happy and when you're free and when you're prosperous, what happens is people become jealous of you. Good morning, Brumhilda. People become jealous of you, or 1 or 2 narcissists stir up a whole flock of flying monkeys. But man, I go through the world with an open heart, a sweet heart, best of intentions, integrity, and I'm getting attacked one after another by one person with an agenda. Hello from Idaho. Hello from Southwest Missouri. Amen to what you said. Oh, we're all going to disappear. We're going to turn sideways into the light, and we're going to disappear. So, so I've chosen, rather than, it's okay, I'm good, I'm going to turn sideways into the light, Dawn. I'm going to disappear. So rather than go on fighting, what this strategy is about transcending. It's about outsmarting. It's about detachment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to step back. I've been a marriage counselor in Carmel, Indiana for 30 years. And I'm going to step back from that role. I'm still going to be a marriage counselor, but I'm going to step back from it. I've bought a house on the beach, and I'm going to shift the focus of my career to being a writer. I'm going to disappear to the beach. I have several projects in mind. I'm going to write a novel next about a woman who suffered horrific narcissistic abuse, and it becomes a warrior and becomes strong and learns how to whoop some ass. Thank you. So that's one of the ways I'm going to turn sideways and disappear into the light. I have another book project. The title came from Lori Loki from On-Site Workshops. It's going to be called Hello from Scotland. It's so cool. The title of the book is going to be Brilliant Resilience, Reimagining PTSD Symptoms. So many of our most painful PTSD symptoms are actually brilliant resilience by our psychological defense mechanisms. So I've got two writing projects. The one with the female narcissistic abuse victim, it's sort of going to be like the girl with the dragon tattoo. Maybe not quite as badass as her, but that's where I'm going. Okay, hello from Germany, Alex. We have China, we have Germany, we have Scotland. It's a worldwide party we got going on this morning. So another way I'm going to Canada. Taylor May, you want to read those books. There is a book out, a new one, that I just released called The Alchemist. Transforming narcissistic abuse into gold. And that's what I'm talking about here, folks. I'm turning my narcissistic abuse into gold. And I'm transcending narcissistic abusers. And I'm turning sideways into the light. And I'm going to disappear into a land of milk and honey. I'm telling you the truth. So, 1 week from today, I'm getting married. May the 7th, I'm getting married. I'm not going to tell you who I'm getting married to yet, but I'll announce that pretty soon. But I am getting married. Somebody else from Germany. Hi, Cinematic. The last 12 years, I've spent battling narcissists and psychopaths and borderlines, and they've ripped me to shreds. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. I'm gonna start crying. And now, God and the universe has brought along a loving, strong, true, healthy, devoted, giving, accountable, in recovery, wonderful woman, and we make quite a powerful team. Thank you, Russ. So we were going to jump on a cruise ship and just float away and get married, and it took too long to do the paperwork for that to happen. So we decided to get married in my backyard, and my son is going to be here next weekend, so we did it then, and I shared it with my family, and I didn't think my family would jump on an airplane on a week's notice, but all my family is flying here, and then we invited friends. We're up to 60 people coming to the backyard next Sunday morning, and we're gonna get married. And for the first time in my life, I'm really ready to get married. My future wife and I went to On-Site last week, and I was sitting there the last day of the training, and this little voice spoke to me, and it said, "Mark, it's time for you to go all in with this plan to turn sideways into the light and disappear. It's time for you." I don't know about being a magnet for love. I'm starting to be a magnet for joy, I know that. So the little voice said, "You love this woman? Your son's in town? Go sit on your knee and ask her to marry you." And after that, she did a piece of work unbeknownst to me when I heard this voice. And the piece of work she did was "People always leave me." So at On-Site, there's a labyrinth. It's a very sacred place, and I brought her to the labyrinth. Thank you. And she sat on it, and she thought I was going to break up with her, but I got on my knee, and I said, will you be my partner in life? And she was pretty happy with that. So anyway, we're going to have a big party at my house next Sunday. Everybody's wearing Hawaiian shirts. We've got a dulcimer player, a good friend of mine is going to officiate, and we're going to party, and we're going to have joy. It's going to be thank you, heebie-jeebie. It's going to be a very unconventional wedding. We're going to be barefoot, and we're not going to have cakes and flowers and all that kind of stuff. I'm glad, Taylor, that this is making you happy, but I'm just telling you, you can transform narcissistic abuse into gold. Thanks, Russ. Last night I was so tired from all the planning. We're selling a house, buying a house, building an apartment, planning a honeymoon, and planning a wedding all at the same time. So we've been pretty tired. She likes the barefoot. And I took a nap, and I had a nightmare. And the nightmare was I was with the narcissistic abuser from the last couple of years. We're going to get to no contact in a little bit here, Jacqueline. And I asked her if she'd been on a date, and she said yes. And I'd asked her if she'd slept with the guy, and she said yes. And it just brought up all the old pain, and I woke up with my heart pounding, and I woke up, feeling all the old pain. So you can move forward. You can have joy. You can have a healthy relationship. You can thrive. You can have the gold that I'm referring to, but there's still a lot of healing work to be done. Okay, so folks, how can you guys turn? It felt like a demonic nightmare. It was just me processing. It was just me working out my stuff. So how can you guys turn sideways into the light and disappear? Well, the first obvious way is leave your relationship and go no contact. Going no contact is turning sideways into the light and disappearing, vanishing from the face of the earth. If you're in a job where you're being narcissistically abused, one way to turn sideways into the light and disappear is quit. The world is filled with jobs. The world is filled with opportunities. My conventional way of making a living has become too infused with narcissistic abuse attacks, because the narcissists are using local officials who are clueless and Barney Fife types to try to accomplish their ends, and I'm just not playing. I'm going to turn sideways and disappear. But quit your job. Have some courage. Start something new. Go start another business. Use your other skills. Turn something difficult into something amazing and something better. I believe that I'm going to help many, many more thousands of people writing books than I have been sitting in Carmel, Indiana, doing marriage counseling. The next way you can turn sideways is get out of Dodge. And sometimes we think we have to stay in the same house, we have to stay in the same community. It's a wide world. I'm not advocating people run from their problems or seek a geographic cure, but sometimes getting out of Dodge is probably the right thing to do. Stop fighting so hard for stuff that really isn't all that terribly important. So I hope this morning has offered you encouragement. We will have a show on Tuesday night, a live stream. Karen Henry Smith is going to be a visitor, and we're looking forward to that. And we might even have some footage of the wedding to share next week. We'll see how that turns out. It's going to be outside and it's going to be windy, and we'll see how that turns out. But we might have some of that. And then we're going to have a live stream from the little mini honeymoon as well. So you'll get to meet and know my partner. So Jackie is missing this announcement. Jackie's going to have to watch the rerun. So, my friends, I encourage you to turn sideways into the light and disappear.